Welcome to the talk show for young people, Give a Good Reason. As usual, we have two debate teams, affirmative, negative. We have one nice resolution that will be discussed today, and also audience and our special guest. So something different? Well, this time, as you can notice, we will speak in English, and not only because of good opportunity to exercise our skills of English language, but also to announce cooperation with the British Embassy and future cooperation on debate competitions, especially I can say for the state debate competition, where we will select our representatives for the World Debate Competition this summer in Romania. So as you know, this show is made by Center of Cultivating Dialogue, Federal TV and Foundation for Creative Development, with support of the Swiss Agency for Cooperation and Development and Independent Bureau for Humanitarian Issues. On this table, you can see books, and these books are provided by book for only one debater who is going to be the best debater at this TV show. The Convention of Right of Children has been adopted by General Assembly of United Nations in 1980 with the goal to protect the rights of children. It means that member states who signed the convention are obliged to protect children's rights, their right to live, for quality of education, security. And it's nice paper, we have it basically on this table. But what is happening with the practice and reality in Bosnia and Herzegovina? Do we have violation of the children's rights? Who is responsible for monitoring, for implementation? What kind of institutions? Do we have enough institutions? Measures also. What about legislation? What about actions for the protection of the rights of children in Bosnia and Herzegovina? All of that today in one debate with resolution. Policy should be adopted to promote global compliance with the Convention of the Right of the Child. And as I said before, we have two teams. Affirmative side, Adnan, Merima, Denis, and one applause for them. On the other side, negative team, Anela, Leila, Sanja, and one applause for ladies. This time we have 4 special guests, and it's my honor to say that the first special guest is His Excellency, Mr. Matthew Rycroft, the British Ambassador in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Next to him is Mrs. Saliha Juderia. She is head of Human Rights, Protection for Human Rights Department and member of State Council of Children. Then with these badges of UNICEF and good visibility, we have UNICEF representatives, Erna Ribar, Project Officer for Participation and Good Governance Project. And Mr. Kerry Neal, Project Officer for Child Protection. This time, as you can see, I'm not there, but there is also no Professor Sanja Vlajsavljević, but we have a special supervisor and guest, Sabina Čudić. I can go for minutes and minutes to talk how she won numerous debate competitions at the national level, world competitions. She studied because of debate and scholarship in the United States also, so the best person for this debate for sure. And of course, audience, our debaters or just students who are pretty much in this debate and will provide their opinion on this topic. And for the beginning, just short movie on Center of Cultivating Dialogue.
Centar za kulturu dijaloga, donedavno SORES debatni centar, što se često moglo čuti tokom najave ovih naših emisija, navede dobar razlog, već godinu i pol realizira jedan, nadam se, a po rezultatima istraživanja javnog mnijenja, uspješan projekat televizijskih emisija za mlade, koji ima za cilj ne samo da tretira te problematiku koja se odnosi na mlade, već podjednako toliko i da obrazuje ne samo populaciju mladih ljudi, već sve one koje zanima živa riječ. Ja se nadam da smo u proteklih gotovo 28 emisija uspjeli da probudimo Bosnu i Hercegovinu, s obzirom da smo imali emisije, odnosno debatante, koji dolaze iz gotovo svih kantona, zatim iz Republike Srpske, što je zaista za jedan omladinski projekat sa skromnim budžetom, rekla bih, veliki poduhvat. Ja se iskreno nadam da ćemo imati podršku i u narednoj godini i da ćemo uspjeti realizirati podjednako uspješno i sa još većim brojem škola sve one teme koje mladi prepoznaju kao aktuelne, ali naravno sa još nekim osvježenjima, kao što su istraživački projekti, kao što su neke povećane nagrade za najbolje istraživačke projekte, isto toliko koliko i za najbolje debatante, jer emisija navede dobar razlog, prije svega ima za cilj promociju dobrog govorništva.
So debate can start. Affirmative one, please give us introduction.
Today's debate will be focused on two major terms, the term of a child, which is basically any person under the age of 18, and the term Convention on the Rights of Children, which is an international convention adopted by the UN to promote and protect children's rights everywhere. When this convention was first established, the UN figured that it can use it as a certain standard or a guide to countries all around the world in their attempts to create an efficient legal system that will protect children's rights. This is the opinion of the UN, and naturally this is the opinion of our team, which we will argument in the following arguments. Special position of a child in society. This argument is self-explanatory. Children everywhere cannot function autonomously in society and always need somebody else like their family or some organizations in society and the state itself to look after them. Consequently, our second argument is that children cannot advocate themselves, which means that they either do not have enough knowledge or that they cannot or will not demand the protection of their rights, and yet again, the state has to do this job for them. This is where the Convention on the Rights of the Child comes in, since it offers a manifesto of children's rights and offers numerous recommendations on how to protect these rights. And the state can use it to create an efficient legal framework for the protection of children's rights. This is why our team firmly believes that the convention should be adopted to promote that the policy of the state should be adapted to promote global compliance with the Convention on the Rights of the Child. Thank you.
Okay, that was from this affirmative side. Negative one, you have opportunity.
My team completely agree with your definition of child and convention. We agree that child is the base of society, but is it truth? Every child, every country is signed of Convention of Children's Rights, but that country isn't ratified that convention, like you were saying, Somalia. In some country which signed that convention, that's not ratified, like India. In India, girls don't go in school. Even in that convention is some point about education. In many countries, tradition or religion don't allow the implementation of this convention. There is a question: what children who are abused or in danger from something or somebody have from that convention on paper, in theory, and if that not educated in that practice, enforced in practice. Our first argument is a huge difference between children's rights in theory and children's rights in practice. We have a second argument that is a policy can't ensure every single child. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. We heard all first speeches, and now it's time for cross-examination. So debaters and, of course, audience, you have opportunity for first comments and questions. Okay, please.
Are Somalia and India proper examples for this topic? Aren't they a little more extreme?
Yeah, but in Somalia...
did the EU ratify this convention?
Many kids don't go to school.
Can I say something?
Okay, Sami.
We must say that every example is appropriate, because children are everywhere the same, don't you think?
Yes,
we
but
can say that one child here is better or worse than another child in, let's say, United Kingdom or in Somalia or anywhere
I'm not
else.
saying that, but
Yeah.
Somalia is quite different than UK. Don't you agree?
Yeah, but
But we are talking about children here, not
Yes,
about
but the
country,
state,
about
the state is
children.
the entity that will provide and promote the convention, not the children.
Okay, Dennis.
Did you hear good? You said that convention is not ratified and you mentioned Somalia.
yeah, Somalia and USA.
Okay, how can you expect from Somalia to ratify something that it doesn't adopted before?
Somalia is signed of Convention of Children's Rights. We have that document.
Somalia is
Somalia and
apply-
USA signed of this convention, but don't ratify.
Did they adopt it? Did they adopt?
I think yes.
But not ratified. Okay, but we're talking now here about policy and implementation, basically, not about only Somalia, which is probably a nice country. Please, Sanya.
You said that that children can't advocate themselves, and we all agree with that. But can you tell us who will advocate for
I
themselves?
just said that the state is the entity that will provide.
You think that state can provide can advocate for every single child?
Yes, the state using the convention will advocate children's rights because today's children are the future building blocks of a prosperous state.
And then I can ask how?
What? How?
How?
How are the children building blocks of a prosperous state?
No, we are talking about policy, and that is basically the topic. So the state is responsible, but the question is how to do it.
The state should do it. I'm no statesman. I mean, the state can offer various programs and perhaps seek the guidance of international organizations in that field, particularly.
Dennis?
I think that we didn't understand what is CRC. CRC Convention of Children's Rights is not action. It's obligation to the countries to make something. So when we say we must adopt CRC, that means that we must make actions. That doesn't mean that we adopt actions. We adopt obligations.
Okay, Sabina.
Ladies on the negative side make this very important distinction between signing and ratifying the treaty. And then you give us examples of the countries which did not ratify the treaty and how poorly the children are treated there. Wouldn't this make a logical argument for the ratification of the treaty and for the implementation of this treaty, precisely for the reason that the countries that didn't ratify it do not have implemented mechanism for protecting the children?
But we said that for some countries who did ratify that, but because of some traditional laws, maybe because of some religious laws, children don't have such rights. You know, children, those rights are not respected. So she mentioned India or I don't know.
Okay, Erna from UNICEF, please.
Just to say, I think that both pros and cons are right. Both groups are right because it is true that conventions are not endorsed or adopted in order for children to advocate for themselves, but to really specify what the accountabilities of the states are. On the other hand, I would say that children can really advocate for themselves because the Convention on the Rights of the Child is very special because it really does specify in its Article 12 the right for children to be heard and to express their own views, and countries are accountable and obliged to respect this right and to make sure this right is
But
accepted.
what is the framework for that participation, basically, of the children?
And what I wanted to say is that also the other group is right because in some countries the states do not find themselves accountable or responsible towards the Convention on the Rights of the Child. And it is true that there is this aspect of cultural relativism in which convention is sometimes considered to be a produce of a Western world and not something that is adjusted to other cultures. However, convention does recognize the specificities of different cultures, and it does allow for the better laws or better solutions for children to be respected if this is the case. So I would say that the debate about the convention does have lots of pros and cons, and good thing is that it continues.
Okay, now it's time for the second speech, so Merima, please.
In exhibition, the first member of my team, you have heard our arguments, which are special position of a child in society and the children cannot advocate themselves. We have also explained our evidences, and those evidences confirm our arguments. I'm going to tell you something more about investigations which are realized from UNICEF, and the investigations tell us about the rights of the child and show on our evidences. UNICEF noticed that efforts to increase of education the children aren't enough. A lot of many girls aren't allowed to educate, but the education is the only key of development humanity, and only educated girls or women can take care of themselves, their health and health of their families. Then they can more actively be involved in society they live in. In fact, every society should work more intensively to eliminate obstructions so the girls can get an education and finish at least elementary school. The most important thing for every child is the quality of education. This research shows us the fact that a policy should be adopted to promote global compliance with the Convention on the Right of the Child. The second research of UNICEF noticed that more than 20% children all over the world are abused of the person at their age. Children are the greatest victims, and every government is not able or willing to respond to all the children's